Now, as roofers, there's one rule that we have to live with every day. We may not appreciate it as much, but gravity is the one rule that all roofers have to work with. Because if you're not careful, gravity is one thing that can get a roofer down. Now, with roof repairs, there's another rule that most of you may not have heard about, and that is the 80-20 rule. There's lots written about the 80-20 rule, and you may ask, how does it apply to what we do as roof repairers? Now, we've got this little example that will show you why the 80-20 rule is really important for us, because it can make or break us. Much like gravity, it can make or break you. So there's this roof that we've been asked to have a look at, do a roof inspection on, and as common to a lot of the roof inspections we do nowadays, it's an insurance claim. So there's been an insurance assessor who's gone out, and in this particular case, the roofers who represent the insurance company have gone out a couple of times, and they've done what they call a make safe, and the make safe is supposed to be a temporary repair that will stop the leaks from happening. So what's happened on this roof is the roofers have been out and they've done all sorts of things to this roof to do a make safe. And the owner has thought, well, the insurance roofers have come out and done their job. Surely they know what they're doing, and we should go and proceed to repair the inside. So they've gone in and patched the ceiling up, they've repainted. But there's one thing that they need to do. The insurance report has stipulated that they call out an independent roofer to ensure that the roof is watertight. And that's why we were called in. So as part of the inspection, we'll go and figure out what exactly is happening, what the insurance roofers have done, and come up with a plan to ensure that the insurance companies are happy with the roof. So we'll go up on this roof and we'll look at what actually happened. Now, the insurance company was told that there were two areas that were leaking. Now, the first leak was over the corner of the bedroom, I think. There was a hole in the ceiling, and I think over time, water had come down and actually dripped on the ceiling and actually caused a hole. So this was happening for quite a while. The second leak was coming down the wall near the entrance. And so the insurance company had a look at these two areas. And they've gone up and made an assessment, and they have done what they call a make good. All right, let's have a look at what these insurance guys have done. Obviously, they like silver tape. There's tape there, there, and there. Looks like they've changed. I think what they've done is, that looks like a changed tile. Let's have a look here. That's a detail on the valley. And lining up that hole in the hallway, you can see that here's the valley, and when you look down inside, you'll see that that's the front wall. So the leak is actually right where the ridge line is on the other side of the wall, which means that if you translate it to here, it's running about there. So that's where the leak is. That's causing the hole in the wall. It's supposed to be a drip drip sound. Now, something interesting here. This is what the insurance companies have done. They have obviously silicone everything up. They've silicone all of that. But something strange is happening here. The insurance company thinks that there could be a hole. I don't know why they've done that, because if you flip the tile over, there's nothing on this end. So that's a red herring. And we know that the leak is about here. And the strange thing is, if you try to lift this tile up, Look, see how tight that is? But this one, see how loose that is? This one's a bit tighter, see that? But this tile, very loose. My suspicion is that this tile is actually broken right under there. And you've got that which is letting water in. Behind the bedding, you've got a broken tile. So that's where the leak is going into, just behind the front entrance, causing the hole. So see that tile there? It shouldn't be loose. And it indicates that you should not be able to do that. See that tile there? You can't do it because that's a full tile. It's obviously broken. You can't do that to this tile. So it's a broken tile here that we need to fix. Right, now how do we score these roof inspectors? On this particular one, 0 out of 1. So they scored nothing here. They got it all wrong. Let's have a look at the second leak, which is coming down the wall. So take these tiles out, and you can see what the insurance guys have done. This is really, really bad. They slapped silicone everywhere, and what this does is that as soon as you do that, when water gets in there, it'll get blocked and it can't come out. It could cause a leak inside. I think originally what happened was that this gutter empties onto here, and if you have a look behind it, see all that dirt in there? So what happens is that the water goes in on the lap and causes the leak. So they've done a repair. This is correct, they've done a repair to there, but they haven't continued all the way down on the gutter. So when water comes out of here, it goes down onto that lap, then it'll cause the leak. So I think they scored 0 out of 2 here. Let's have a look in detail. So they've done all of that. And so my suspicion is that that's where the water comes in, along there. Now, someone has actually pointed that. That's been pointed. So obviously used to leak before. It's been pointed. That there is a silicone applied incorrectly. The silicone should be back here and not there, because if you get a crack along there, it'll suck water in, can't come out, it'll back up, and you get a leak in the valley. So, but fortunately, they have given themselves margin for error because there's a gap in there. So if the water does get in, it will whip out there. So thankfully, they haven't actually caused any harm. But this tape here is just, when we see it, you just cannot remove it. It's like it's stuck fast, and I don't know why people use this. This is just absolutely ghastly. So this silver tape, don't know why roofers use it, because it's just absolutely useless. Now, did you know that 20% of the people in this planet owns 80% of the money? And there's really nothing we can do about it because it follows the 80-20 rule. So what is the 80-20 rule? Well, the 80-20 rule basically says that 20% of the effort that you spend on anything will produce you 80% of the results, which also means that 80% of the time that you are working on something will only produce 20% of the results. So it's a rule, I think, that we can't change. We just have to live around it. So how does it apply to this particular roof? Well, it's quite obvious that most of the stuff that the insurance roofers have done doesn't really do anything, which means that they've gone back onto this roof 2 times, and they've spent time, and they've used materials, and they've attempted to do something. And 80% of what they've done is completely useless. It's only produced 20% of the results. In fact, it looks like most of what they've done, in fact, goes against achieving a good result. And we as roof repairers, if we did what these insurance roofers have done, we would be achieving the same result. We'll spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we won't actually get there. I mean, 20% is not getting there. We need to go the 100%. So as you can see, what we do is we look at the 20% that's going to give us 80% of the result. We figured out that the hole in the ceiling is not caused by a blockage in the valley. It's not caused by a cracked tile. In fact, it's a broken tile under the ridge cap, which is just about impossible to find. And the reason that we have found it is because through our experience, we've got to get the location precise. I think we've been able to find the exact cause of the first leak. Now, as for the second leak, we can see that silicon's been applied all over the place. There's silver tape everywhere, and most of it does not work. In fact, it can actually work in reverse and cause more leaks. And we think the reason for that consistent leak down the wall, the second leak, is because of the blockage on the lap between the tiles. The water course is clogged up, and with the gutter spewing water over the blocked water course, the water's gone in under the tile and it's gone across the wall, and it's caused that continuous wet area along the wall. So now that we've identified exactly what we think are the causes of those two leaks, we can go and come up with solutions to actually fix the leak for good. So we've zoned in on the 20% to make sure that we don't go in with a scattergun approach and do all this work, and that we only do the work that is required. The 20% of the work that will give us the result we want. The 20% that will give us the 80% of the result. So we're always conscious of the 80-20 rule, and we are always looking at where we should be applying our efforts to achieve the maximum result. And the 80-20 rule applies to everything in our lives, of what we eat, the exercise we do, and the relationships that we keep. And we've got to be really conscious of making an effort at the 20% of the things that we do that will give us 80% of the results, and not spend all this time on working on the 80% that will only give us 20%. And if you work hard at it, you may even make the 20% of the people in this world that owns 80% of the money. Or if you're not into money, you could be the 20% of the people in this world that owns 80% of the happiness. Whatever you like.